Why, hello there! Alright, I'm back. Thank you guys for waiting. That was a nice little break. Got some stretches in, refilled our water. Used the bathroom. We are Gucci. Alright, it is time to get on to the second feature of today's stream, which is going to be Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We've got the second game coming up, and we are currently in the middle of Chapter 3. I don't quite remember where we left off, if I'm being completely honest, so let's just boot it up and see if that jogs our memory. There was a confrontation between Susato and Ryunosuke with the hooded guy that we think, or are led to think, that is, Kazuma. Right! Okay, we met with this person that is the lead forensic scientist in this lab-looking area. And her crazy daughter that wants to cut us up. And I believe we were trying to find out details about the body of, the man that was teleported. We now know he wasn't teleported, he was dropped from an air balloon from above. And that was like the major gag moment in the first part of the case. Yes, we have moved on to Ace Attorney. And we will be playing this for about the next 3 hours. So, what are you doing at the moment, Doctor? Keeping a close eye on things, so no impertinent Easterners think they can look around my office. Are there such impertinent Easterners around? How terrible. Thanks, Diamond. Yes, you. She doesn't mince her words, Miss Susato. I think perhaps it's time we left. I agree. So... I found another place, like 5 minutes away, gonna call on Monday. Wait, another place? Like, are you talking about, like, a job search, Diamond, or...? Okay. Cool. I hope it works out. I think we have to go to the prison. Thanks to Susato's handy-dandy little hint. Oh, not this. What's he doing? He's... Oh my. The whole wall of the cell is covered in mathematical equations. And he's still writing more now. Professor, sorry to interrupt. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. And who is this young lady? My name is Susato Mikutoba. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. Want to hear a cheesy pickup line? Tell me. Maybe he's making a bomb. Hey, Dots. I see SMT. I see it too. Clearly, he's writing formulas for SMT games, yes. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor. My pronouns are he, they, but I could be yours. Whoop! My goodness, that is cheesy. Oh, if only I'd met a refined young woman like you sooner. None of this would have happened.
I will roast you.
That is a powerful emote, Tux. No, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all. Oh dear. I'm sorry if my presence here upsets you. I owe you an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I would in court this morning. Oh no! No, 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 no! The whole thing, this whole miserable affair, it all happened because I've been such a complete and utter clot! Trisha? Professor Hairbrain, what have you been working on in your cell? Oh, you mean that? Oh dear, how embarrassing. As your legal counsel, we must advise you against continued self-immolation. Yeah. He literally was trying to get himself into trouble in that first part, and that was ridiculous. You love it? Me too. That's why I had to add it. I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see, and I simply had to write it down. The wall was all I had to hand. Oh, is it some new hypothesis? Something to surpass super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, maybe? No, actually. This is my autobiography. Your autobiography. How I Was Diddled and Fiddled by Albert Hairbrain. I found I can represent my odd fortunes with only odd numbers in an ambitious set of simultaneous equations. Really? I'm going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you see. So it's going to be a new serial publication from next month. Part 1, An Odd Birth, An Odd Upbringing. You can't beat this man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we talked a little more about the case? Oh yes! Yes! Of course! I've been working through the numbers. I was diddled, I was fiddled by the pair of them. By Asmin, and by the aloof engineer Drebber. We're not going to have to sit through an explanation of all these equations, are we? I would really rather not. I have my detective notebook ready. Okay, perfect, Thomas. Everything I believed in has been turned on its head. My research, Mr. Asmin, the kinesis machine. My hypothesis, even. I'm sorry it's come to this. There was really no other way. No, it's not your fault. I wanted to protect my work, but in the end there was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public. No, of course you didn't. But in court this morning, I realized something. Oh? If you've done something wrong without knowing it, you've still done something wrong. Logically, it makes no difference if you were aware of it or not. Ignorance is a poor excuse. The blame still lies with me. Oh, Professor. He believed in me this morning, you know. Barrick did. He believed in my hypothesis. Well, I think that was just a necessary factor in the prosecution establishing its case. No, Barrick wouldn't do something like that. I'm sure he genuinely believed it. Did he? I think I understand now. Why it was that he decided to take on the prosecution in my trial, I mean. Okay, Van Zeek's motivation. After the terrible accident happened, nobody would believe in my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution service, not any lawyers even. I feel I dealt some kind of finishing blow there. So if any other prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Barrick, I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypothesis a complete and utter nonsense. And in that case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor. Exactly, which would have been a fate worse than death for me. But Barrick insisted that I was a proper man of science from start to finish. You think that's why he... I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul. But that extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he? Well, admittedly, that was part of the analysis. Appears to have some flaws in it. And what about the whole Reaper side of things? How does that fit in with the kind-hearted soul idea? Do you think he set out to trick me from the very start? I'm sorry to say, that does seem likely, yes. When I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked over the paper I'd written and said my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused, he was so empathetic. But in reality, he was the mastermind of some vast criminal network, it seems. I still can't believe it. As the machine was essentially a set decoration for some stage magic, it probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually. The scale of it, it wasn't just some small trick. It was a very elaborate feat of deception. All young scientists are full of hope about their burgeoning ideas, full of zeal. But none of us have any money. We want to do research, but we can't afford it. Many of us take on barely legal part-time work to try to earn just a few measly pennies to carry on. To go through all that, only to be taken for a complete fool. It's too rotten to believe. It is, I agree. And that's why we have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Mr. Asman is no more, of course, which leaves only the engineer. Mr. Enoch Drebber. Is he an engineer or a magician or a swindler? It was about a year ago when Mr. Asman first brought Drebber to meet me at my laboratory. Since then, I've met him many times to discuss details about the kinesis machine, but at no point did you have any inkling that he was just an illusionist? Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist. What do you mean? He was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question that the man's a genuine scientist. It's instantly apparent in conversation, you see. But the wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. We must do everything we can to find him and bring him to justice. Are there no more clues you can give us as to his whereabouts? I'm sorry, we only ever discussed the kinesis machine. Nothing else. Although, just once, I did visit his workshop. What workshop? Drebber's enormous fabrication laboratory, where he constructed my great machine. Why didn't you mention this before? Not Drebber's workshop? There's every chance we might find the man there. My god, this person drives me absolutely insane. So, you've been to Drebber's place of work, then? Yes, just once, you understand. It was an enormous place, plenty of room to construct the kinesis machine, you see. Where can we find it? We have to go there at once. There's a good chance that we'll find Drebber there. Well, yes, definitely. I'm sure, as in, I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. But I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. Oz, welcome. Happy Saturday. I'm so sorry. I was more than half expecting that. You see, I was blindfolded in the carriage the entire way there. Blindfolded you? He wasn't taking any chances then. The place was incredible, the pinnacle of modern engineering. Even the oil he used was the very best. A special French machine oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Oh, well, that's a hint. Ah, the indescribable scent of that imported oil. Perfumers across the world should forget their secret formulae and use that instead. What do you think, Miss Usato? Eau de machine for your next birthday? I've never used any kind of perfume, Mr. Naruhodo, and I'm not sure I'd like to start with that. I don't suppose you know even part of the workshop's address, Professor. You don't have a business card for Mr. Drebber, for example. Man was clearly very cautious, Miss Susato. I'm sure he would— Aha! Ah! Yes, I do! He gave me his business card once. It's right here. Look. Let me see that. Throw etiquette to the wind, why don't you? Enoch Drebber, engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address. No? Oh well. I can't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be useful. Honestly, I would have been more angry if there was an address on that. Like, we would have just gone around this whole series of conversations just for the doctor to be like, oh, I do have his address. Like, that just would have been dumb. Alright, let's examine it. Enoch Trevor, engineer. Oh, great. This dark smudge here. I think perhaps it's machine oil. Ah, yes, possibly. Professor Hairbrain mentioned something about the oil Mr. Drebber uses, didn't he? He said it was specifically imported, very high-quality oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Yes, that's right. But more importantly, that it's more fragrant than the finest perfume. So, excuse me a moment. Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all. Don't worry, I expect that's just because there's such a tiny amount on here. Okay. Can I present the photo to him? Story time. Hello and happy Saturday. Are you joining us for an Ace Attorney session today? You finished it? Are we crying? Professor Hairbrain, what do you make of this? You're in shambles! Aww. Oh yes, that's just what we need to prove my hypothesis, isn't it? No. It's nothing to do with your hypothesis, actually. Then take it away! I don't want to be bothered with anything that doesn't assist my science. Alright, keep your abundant hair on. I don't think we have anything to present to him. It might be time to move. Experimentation stage. She's kind of hinting that we should go there. Where is Sholmes at the moment? Did the game exceed your expectations, story time? I'm glad that you were able to finish it. Oh, excellent. Okay, so we already did everything here with Gina. I expected an entirely different game than what I got, and I was unprepared. So we loved it. Was there anything else to examine up here? This wasn't here yesterday? Really? But if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage in which the victim was standing before he was apparently beamed through the air. It's better than Like a Dragon? Oh my lord. That's right, the birdcage. According to what Professor Hairbrain said in court, it's made of wood. Or more precisely, Japanese cypress, I think. And despite having been in an explosion and then falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. What wonderfully durable construction, wouldn't you say, Mr. Naruhodo? I'd understood that the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back here when they finished their work. But sadly, not with the body inside. No, That's right. No, we were given strict instructions not to touch anything, but still. This is too important a piece of evidence to overlook. We might need it for the trial. You simply must play Like a Dragon Gaiden, though. It's short, and it's powerful, and it gives context for Yakuza 8. Oh, God. Okay. So you... Alright, that's fair. So when I'm ready to play Yakuza again, I gotta do Like a Dragon Gaiden. I can accept these terms. Because that one has, I get to play as Kuryu, right? And as you know, I'm partial to him, so... You'd already met that masked man, hadn't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, yesterday, in fact. At Lord Van Zeek's office. I see. And if Kazuma-sama really is still alive, it means that Mr. Sholmes lied to us. I know. We're going to need to speak to him about that. You're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, it will cause problems. Anyways, that's enough about Peak Fiction. Let's focus on Peak Fiction. Yeah, the story is definitely getting wild and crazy, and I'm here for it. I want to see how this all ties together. I'm kind of sick of Hairbrain, but that's about it. What sort of problems? Foreign affairs problems. Well, we could do without that. Alright, we'll be on our way. Let's go, Mrs. Sato. Of course. Sir Sholmes doesn't appear to be back. I'm gonna return to the prison and present the cage to him. Look here, Mr. Sato. Oh yes, the wood's cracked and broken a little. I suppose because it fell from such a height? Yes, from the height at which the balloon was flying, down into the crystal tower below. A fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters, leaving the man inside tragically dead. Okay. Can I present this to him? Have you developed any new theories or built upon existing ones since last weekend? I mean, I feel like I have most of it figured out. I don't know how Drebber's gonna play into this at all. But, we pretty much predicted that Professor Hairbrain got scammed by Asmon from the beginning. And the engineer was behind building the fake machine so that they could do this whole elaborate ploy. I don't know what's going on with the wax. The wax abduction. We need to, that's like the main mystery going on right now. And then there's like the subplot with, Kazuma being that guy in the hood, and, not knowing why Sholmes would tell us that he was dead when he would have had to have known that it was a wax doll. Iris definitely masterminded this murder. That would be crazy. Oh, okay. My bad. So, Hairbrain, we can't present anything to him. That's good, because that means I don't have to deal with him. What about the forensics lab? Is she still here? No, and she's not gonna let me. Look at this. What magnificent display case. Cherry wood has been polished to a high sheen, and the intricate carving is a joy to behold. Western cabinet makers really are very skilled, aren't they? You have nothing to say about the skeleton inside, Mr. Naruhodo? Miss Susato, can't you tell that I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying contents of this case? I'm curious, when you move the investigations cursor around, does it feel like you have no control over its speed? No, it feels pretty standard, I think. It's how I cope. I'll be sure to remember that from now on. I guess there's no slow. There's one speed for everything. Oh. Kevin? Welcome home, Kevin. An owl and a crow. They're taxidermy mounts. I wonder if that could be relevant to the case, to be honest. Yeah, so it doesn't look like there's anything to do here either. So Susato's not really giving me any hints. What if I go back to the legal consultants and see? Aha! Wait, this might just be a general thing, actually. Like, this is like general hints from the game, maybe? Alright, I'm gonna click it, but I'm gonna check in with Kev for just a few minutes before we do. So just sit tight for a few minutes, guys. I'll be RB. Okay. Sorry, guys, for the break. M-Man's running to get supper. Wonderful. It's usually kind of fluff dialogue that tends to be in most games, and it rarely matters. It's a staple in Ace Attorney games with the what to do for assistance. Oh. So wait, you're saying if I read this, it's not actually going to help me figure out what I need to do next? Okay. Is Iris here? Okay. So I need to come here, I think. Just kidding. Well, actually, I don't know. Right, the green scrolling text, but there's not actually anything here. I don't believe it! And Iris is not here. I'm kind of running out of ideas for what I need to do. She's destroying evidence because she's the killer. Oh, hey, Steven. How did the Persona ink go? I know, I basically had to, like, rip myself away from it. Remember to check Susato's dialogue about locations? Yeah, I did do that, Dots, and unfortunately, it's not leading me anywhere right now. The heavy curtain in the middle of the House of Horrors. Whatever's on the other side, you just know it's going to be terrifying, don't you? The sign says it's Madame Tispel's special exhibit. It seems you have to pay extra to go inside. I know, can you believe that? Pay more money as if we haven't been scared enough already. It's not my doing, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, I'm at a little bit of a loss right now. I don't know where Sholmes is.
Oh.
By the time I come back from dinner, I'm sure you'll have figured it out. Oh, Lord. Wait, it did do the scrolling text here. I'm going back to Sholmes' suite. And I'm just examine stuff. Maybe there's a hint in his study about where he is right now. Finally managed to remember this behemoth's name, the Great Analytoscope. I don't think it was here when I left for Japan, was it? Oh, is that right? Yes, because it was with the pawnbroker. Oh, of course. Oh, that's given me a wonderful idea. I could pawn everything that's on your desk. The office would be tidy at last. Don't even joke about it, Miss Susato. You are joking, aren't you? Mr. Sholmes' famous violin, the one he'd found being sold for a song at the pawnbrokery. What's it called again? A shot of something? This wonderful instrument features the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. It's a world-famous Stradivarius. What? Stradivarius. Mr. Naruhodo. Stragivor. Are you even trying now? We'll come back to this another time, I think. There's all sorts of things on these shelves. Chemistry, apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high, I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment. Straggiana Grande, yes, that's the one. It looks as though it might topple, and yet it doesn't. The epitome of Mr. Sholmes' brilliance. I don't get it. As it happens, I'm quite well practiced when it comes to stacking shelves myself. Just the other day, the shelf in my office finally it gave way under the strain, though. Looks as though it might topple, and it does. Yes, the epitome of your disarray. I really don't get it. Okay. So nothing in Sholmes' area seems to be helping. My eye is always drawn to the big metal chest that Mr. Sholmes and Iris use as a coffee table. Isn't it where Iris keeps her very important papers? It is. So you'd think that they'd treat it with more care, really. But only the other day I saw Mr. Sholmes kick it. Oh no. I suppose something must have been frustrating him. What a shame to mistreat the furniture, though. Was it damaged? The chest was fine, but Mr. Sholmes was doubled up on the floor for almost 10 minutes. Oh dear, that is a painful tale. If I've remembered correctly, this large and imposing lump of iron is called a typewriter. I think that every single one of the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes blossomed from this very machine. Ah, it's such a dreamy thought. I actually had a go on it the other day. The metal bars that move when you hit the keys got all tangled up somehow. That made Iris angry. Mr. Naruhodo, you're ruining my dreamy thoughts. Please don't do that again. Ugh. Now I've made Susato-san angry as well. Iris's tea set. It's only by carefully taking care of tea set that you can make good tea. Is that a roundabout way of telling me I need to tidy my desk? Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, you do overthink things at times. Alright, so this is all just flavor dialogue. I wonder if the evidence we were given by Professor Hairbrain will come in useful somehow. Maybe we need to talk to Hairbrain about something else. Huh. Can I present this to him? Oh. Okay, well, we just figured it out. Professor, do you recognize this? This feels kind of random, though, no? Oh, it's Andrew, my faithful friend. How have you been? Are you alright? Nobody's mistreated you, have they? Don't worry, he's being very well looked after. I always rub him with machine oil until he's gleaming. Right. And then, when I come to tighten the screw with him, he slips in my hand and I can't do it. It's that age-old problem faced by driver files the world over, isn't it? I really wouldn't know, I'm afraid. Okay, that didn't help us at all. Do you know this crossbow, sir? No! Alright, he doesn't like that. Photographic print of the balloon. He didn't like the Mr. Drebber. He didn't accept the bird cage, even though I was a little curious about it. What if I present the card back to him? Nope. Alright, sorry. Sorry! I got all excited about the screwdriver thing, but apparently it didn't actually do anything. Alright. Well, I guess we're gonna have to move somewhere else. Maybe Gina? I could double check. Aha! Why? Gina, we were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again. Yeah, alright. If it's around here, you can do what you like. Oh. This is repeat dialogue. Yeah, she has her cute doggo. Apparently we can't look around on the stage now because of the forensic investigation team are at work. Can't you do anything, Gina, in your capacity as Inspector Lestrade? Look, I'd like to help you out, but I'm just a trainee, ain't I? Ain't nothing I can do. When it suits you, yes. Okay. Gina... Can I present this to you? Okay, she doesn't... Gina doesn't seem like she's gonna be very helpful. Is there anything around here that we can... Oh, we can scroll up. Crystal Tower. Can't believe I'm seeing it at such close proximity with my own eyes. You've really been looking forward to the great exhibition, haven't you, Miss Usato? Oh yes, when I found out that I had to return to Japan, I'm afraid I cursed my luck. What do you know about Drebber's card? I forget. There's like an oil stain on the deck. Perhaps I was wrong to curse my luck so harshly. What a shame that the symbolic landmark of the Great Exhibition has been damaged like that. Yes, unfortunately, the birdcage crashed in the most prominent position possible. It's the gods giving us a warning, if you ask me. Man must travel under his own steam and not cut corners with instantaneous kinesis. But imagine what might have happened if the birdcage had landed in a slightly different location. The death toll could have been far worse. Did I show the card to Gina? No, actually. Why would I, though? So I think perhaps it was a blessing in disguise. Well, the gods are benevolent, obviously. I did say it was just a warning. Man must travel under his own steam, or next time birdcages will rain down upon all of you. Your faith is much stronger than I realized. Well, how do you think I passed the entrance exam for Yume University? It wasn't by studying alone. I can try presenting it to Gina. I don't really see the logic, but I could try it. Kittle, you have your food. You don't need anything else. Yeah, I'm still learning me letters at the moment. I only know A to E, so if it ain't too much, bleed in trouble. Actually, Gina, it's the back of the card that's important. Huh? How come? There's just a dirty old smudge on the back, that's all. It turns out that this is a very high-quality French machine oil. It is a very particular scent, apparently. You don't say. Let's have a whiff, then. Are you sure? I don't smell nothing. No, we didn't mean that you should smell it. Oh, right. You mean Toby. Oh, the dog. Wow, that's a bit of a... Wow. Yeah, thank you, Dots. That would have taken me a long time to get to. Sense of smell is so good, he can track people over the oceans, can't he? Professor Harebrain informs us that this oil is unique to Mr. Drever's workshop. Oh my god, this animation. I think he's picked up a scent. So you mean, if he follows the scent of this oil, Toby could lead us to that dodgy Cove's workshop. That's right, that's exactly what we were hoping for. Alright, then we'll give it a go. I'll just borrow that. Well, wait, when did you... Once a pickpocket. If I can lead everyone to that Drever's workshop, I'll be the boss's boss before next week. Oh yes, Gina. I'm sure you'll be promoted. Poor Gregson. Right then, Odo, leave it to me. Sorry? We're gonna get going after that dodgy engineer cove right this minute. Oh, right, and hang on, someone's supposed to be on guard duty here all the time. I'm afraid we can't help. We need to get on with our investigation as well, Gina. Oh, right. Oh well, never mind. It ain't gonna be me what gets in the neck. It'll be the boss. Oh, Lord. She would just be investigator since she's an apprentice. Poor Gregson again. Ready, Toby? Got that oil scent, have ya? Come on, Ben boy. This has got to be one of my favorite animations that we've seen in this game thus far. Matter of fact, it's so cute. I'm gonna leave it here while I concoct a drink and then come right back. So just a second. That would make an incredible animated emote. I don't know how to set that type of thing up. You are correct, though. That would be amazing if we could just have the little Toby sniff. Let's just get a puppy instead. Yeah. No, tell me about it. Need to. That being said, my cat was harassing me in the kitchen. She was. Every time we walk into the kitchen,
Meow.
She walks up and, like, expectedly gets all like, "Are you giving me a TREAT?" Oh god, she knows how to spell. She just looked at me. You might need to make space for her. I think she's trying to get up. Ready, Toby? Got that oil scent, Avia. Come on then, boy. See you later. I do hope the scent of that oil leads them to that swindler's workshop. Yes, I hope so too. Ideally before the dog swims across the channel to France. Well, I think we've done all the investigating we can here for now. If we could just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Drebber. I'm sure Gina and little Toby won't let us down. Now then, do you think we ought to try to speak with Mr. Sholmes at this point? Yes! We have things to discuss, and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months. What I do is find one of those YouTube to GIF converters online, grab the frames from the VOD to make a GIF, and I edit it to make sure it's the right size. That... YouTube to GIF converter. So do you put your VOD on YouTube first? That way you're able to do it? Or are you able to do that directly from, like, a Twitch VOD? I'm a fairly novice when it comes to a lot of super technical stuff, so I would probably have to practice. I see you figured it out. Well, we figured out one thing, and then Dots had to let us in on a hint that apparently we had to show the oil-stained card to Gina. I was not gonna get there myself. Yeah, how was dinner story time? Also a good question. Not entirely sure if they can grab from Twitch. I usually use my YouTube archive. Gotcha. It was delicious and you had steaks? No, Dots, I'm glad you told me. Yeah, steak sounds wonderful. I think tonight we're having, quesadillas with tomato soup. My stepdad got a banger deal at the store, and we got a pack of 5 steaks for 20 bucks? What the... Steaks are usually, like... I don't know how big they were, but Jesus. Welcome, Tammy. Happy Saturday. Part 2 of the triple feature. Amazing. You would have gone for 25 for a pack of 2. See, that sounds about what we usually see. Like, if we do steaks for the 2 of us, it usually runs about 20 bucks. Yes, it's quite possible he might know something useful, you're right. We ought to find him at Madame Tispel's. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit. Yes, Iris told me all about his latest unusual venture. Okay. I'm glad we don't have to deal with Gina. Alright. Here we are again at the House of Horrors. I'm afraid I haven't got used to this place yet. GAA2 Gina is precious. It is funny that she's suddenly an investigator. I'd like to turn on my heels and go straight home, via the confectionery, of course. Yeah, Spells is great. You'll cosplay as Spells, wonderful. We gotta get you that extra hand to hang out of your backside though. That tripped me up.
My magic.
Susato really is after something sweet today, isn't she? Oh! What's the matter? Look, Mr. Naruhodo, look at the waxwork! I'm quite sure it wasn't there before. It looks exactly like Mr. Sholmes down to the very last detail. I know, he's so ridiculous. What is it? Oh, sorry, I think you'll find that's the temporary waxwork himself. Ah, the friends of my dedicated employee. Oh, yes, hello again, it's Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I must say, I'm quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel. My precious waxwork is already back where it belongs. You don't mean... But yes, the mystery is solved already. Wow, Mr. Sholmes can really engage his brain when he's hungry enough. So as you can see, he has returned to his habitual duties. Yes. His habitual duties? Allure. Do not disturb, Poor Susato-san, she looks very perplexed. We really do need to speak with Mr. Sholmes, and I'm longing to say hello again. But where is he? And then he starts doing this in the background. Yeah, you love Sholmes because he's a goofball. He's grown on me a lot. I think in Chapter 2 of the first game, I was kind of, like, not totally feeling him, and then in this one, I'm, like, way more of a fan. Yeah. There is Among Us tonight, Tammy, yeah. Literally everyone gets a glow up in 2. I feel that way, too. I know, I love a good himbo, too. Maybe I see a little bit of myself in him. I think you might find that he's quite nearby, actually. Oh, what do you... Indeed, my dear fellows, it is I! The world-famous great detective in waxwork, Herlock Sholmes! I don't know if you quite deserve the title of great detective. Perhaps not, but does he?
Violence is on sale today.
Not Storytime's right. This is a good point. Susato-san! Susato-san! Did she pass out? My most humble apologies. I thought I died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment, via London. My dear madam, allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty free deduction at some point. As long as it's not of questionable street food quality. I don't understand. Why are you working as a waxwork here, Mr. Sholmes? Merely a secret identity, you understand. Though the case is largely solved now. Largely solved. We're talking about the waxwork abduction, I presume. Indeed we are, my good fellow. As I predicted, it was as easy as proverbial pie. Though I confess, I'm yet to partake of a pie, proverbial or otherwise, or any food so far today, for that matter. Oh. That stomach rumble echoed around the whole museum. So, how did you manage to solve it so quickly? Ah, well, do remember I said it was largely solved. Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone? Oh yes. It's a most modern invention, allowing you to hold a conversation with people far away. In Japan, only the imperial capital and a handful of other cities are connected as yet. This morning, a telephone call was received here from a perpetrator of the abduction. As such, I was able to negotiate terms, and in the end, the waxwork was returned. That's amazing. Just between you and I, it would appear the culprit had always intended to return the stolen waxwork in any event. Oh, but I thought whoever was responsible had demanded a ransom, no? Yes, I think perhaps the ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive. But does that not mean your negotiating was entirely unnecessary? A fact that I must ask you to keep from Madame Tispel's at all costs. A hungry young Iris awaits my return to Baker Street, after all. Poor Iris. Now then, do I sense that you have some business with this great waxwork? You most certainly do. We're in the process of trying to track somebody down. Oh. Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. He's the swindler who duped Professor Hairbrain and the engineer who built the kinesis machine. A swindler and an engineer. Quite the modern man. He also seems to be a conjurer of sorts too, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. We really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. But we have so few clues to go on. That's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas? Oh, Steven? Do I see you also ace attorneying? I have no data yet. It is a capital mistake to have good ideas before one has data. If I knew something of the man's appearance at least, I may be in a better position to help. Yes, Trevor's appearance. Fortunately for you, however, presently I have little to occupy myself and little to fill my stomach. Nice, you got in the mood. As soon as you find any clue, no matter how small, I shall gladly give you my thoughts on it. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? My dear Naruhodo, stay that piercing stare. What is this about? Last winter, when we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship. Your words were very clear. So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. You told us that it was murder, and you examined Kazuma-sama's body. I've been waiting for this. Indeed, and wherein lies the problem? We met him earlier today, the victim, Kazuma Asugi. You're quite sure? He was wearing some sort of mask, and was apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure. It was Kazuma-sama. You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead. Well, I can only assume I was swept up in the murderous atmosphere of the moment. But the fellow wasn't dead at all? Ha ha ha! Priceless! I don't suppose that performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruhodo? I could believe that crewmen present at the time made a mistake, but not you, Mr. Sholmes. I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. Please, Mr. Sholmes. Tomorrow in court, you will find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. For now, I'm afraid that is all I can say. So he gave us nothing. The plot chickens, indeed. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes over this photographic print? It's of Mr. Enoch Drebber, the face of the engineer we seek. Well, all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course. So looking at the photograph won't be particularly instructive. Are you alright, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, forgive me. Very interesting, this. Very interesting indeed. What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You've turned quite pale all of a sudden. I have a suggestion, Mr. Naruhodo. Will you indulge me? Oh, well, what is it? As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned, and I personally reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains. Oh, yes, the professor exhibit, isn't it? Would you like to see it? For a mere 5 shillings, that's a special, one-time only price, you understand? What? The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Wouldn't you like to see the fruits of my labor? Oh, well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone. The price is a very reasonable 5 shillings. I think you'll find it's well worth it. You being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes? Surely you need only look at my expression to ascertain if this is seriousness or silliness. I can never tell with you, that's the point. Very well, it couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings. Gratefully received. So, the special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse it at your leisure. Well, the money's been spent, so let's go and see the special exhibit. Okay, is it gonna be Drebber? Through those heavy curtains at last. $5 shillings we've had to pay. It doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Sholmes slipped the money into his own pocket, does it? No. Ah, we could ask Gina to retrieve it for us, using her special skills. Pickpocketing police officers and diddling detectives? Is that what makes Britain great? Not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands, or chip-loving inspectors. Inspector Gregson comes off rather well in that list, I think. Okay. Ah, interesting. Oh dear. I felt a shiver run down my spine as soon as we walked in here. Miss Usato, I say we turn on our heels and go straight home, via a really big confectionery. We certainly can't do that. We've paid 5 shillings already. True. Actually, now that I'm looking a little more closely, we've paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of the great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place. This must be what Mr. Sholmes meant when he said that this case was largely solved. Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there'd be a clue about the engineer in here, didn't he? But where? Since we paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigation, shall we? Yes, we will get what we paid for. Is that fear or frustration that's making Susato-san's voice tremble? This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real. It seems to be a young man in a white overall coat. And he has a large shovel in his hand too, look. Perhaps we should investigate in a little more detail. Oh, are they really not gonna let us see the face? Can't see his face very well, can you? Perhaps if I just... do you think you should be manhandling the exhibits, Mr. Naruhodo? I'll put it back exactly as it was, don't worry. Huh? What on earth? How can... I don't believe it. A black monocle. Mr. Naruhodo, is it possible that this man is... Yes. It's Enoch Drebber. The color of his hair is different, but it's unmistakably him. Indeed it is. Mr. Sholmes. This man is the subject of your present hunt, I believe. Yes, that's... What's this, Kuroi? You made it?! Kuroi! Oh my gosh! Thank you for doing that! Hold on, I need to... Actually, if I just leave it up, I'll be able to save it later. That was so nice of you! It's so cute! Discord links are super long now. I noticed that when I make my schedule, it links to a Discord post. And look how long it is. Blech. Oh, yay! Animated dog sniff emotes. I actually don't know, will I have to crop the file size more, Kuroi? Hold on, if I was to... Toby cropped... Pictures... Saved pictures... Emotes... Save... Shouldn't need to, I made it 112 by 112, which is what Twitch wants. I might be able to instant upload that. Hold on. Aw, that was so nice, Kuroi. Thanks. Viewer emotes. Whoa! When did we unlock more emote slots? Oh my god! We have 7 more! What? You're right, the subathon! Oh my goodness. It might be time to import more of Kevin's crazy things from Discord. Okay, well, we'll look at that more. I will set that up. Wow. We're in the display. They doubled animated emotes for everyone a while back. Yeah, but my standard emotes went from 10 to 17, Troy. And I think it's because during the subathon, we reached like 200-something subscribers. So that could have been what did it. But let me try adding this one that you made for me. Alright, Lord Pay2 Sniff is about to appear. I'm gonna refresh my chat. Yeah, it's the dog! It's Toby! Okay. I'm gonna refresh this. Yeah, shout outs to Kuroi. That was really, really nice of him. Okay, let's see if it works. That should be an instant upload.
Thank you.
Yeah, it works! This is just perfect! He's little, but you can see it. And you can see his wagging tail. It is so cute.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Yes, that's right. Just who is that man? Why is he here in this exhibit? And why does the convict behind him have no head? The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it. What a surprise. So then the case isn't solved yet, is it? Did I not say so myself? Largely solved were my words, I believe. But I must locate the missing head. Toot sweet, as Madame would say, or I'll be in grave trouble. A very hungry Iris still awaits my return to Baker Street. Preferably with rations. Ugh. Do you know, though, something about this room is strange. Strange? What do you mean? Well, the displays in the House of Horrors are supposed to depict real events, are they not? Indeed they are, Miss Susato. Do go on. And, as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one... This surely couldn't ever have happened. Could it? I think it's time I educate you a little. About the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago. Okay. I believe I told you a little about the professor yesterday, did I not? He took the lives of 5 victims, every one being either a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound and had their throats ripped from their bodies. Oh gosh, an enormous hound? How awful. After taking the life of his 5th victim, the killer was apprehended. It was a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain. You understand accordingly. The professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted. Closed court? So you mean that the professor's identity... As you've surmised, my dear fellow, his identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty and was summarily sentenced to death by hanging. He was buried in a grave at Lowgate Cemetery, which adjoins the rear of the prison where he had been held. However, that was not the end of the affair. Oh! The very night that he was buried, the convicted man came back to life. Back to life? He clawed his way out of the ground and emerged into the moonlit graveyard. The exhibit here depicts the very scene, as described by the sole witness to those chilling events. Was a witness? But of course, my dear fellow, it was none other than the young man in the white overcoat. Enoch Drebber. He saw it happen? So this is a waxwork model of Enoch Drebber. 10 years ago, the convicted professor, having been gibbeted and buried, emerged from his grave in the dead of night. The sole witness to that unimaginable scene was this young man. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old. It's so horrifying. Scared out of his wits, the young Drebber ran to a nearby police station to report the incident. And the sheer terror of what he'd seen is said to have turned his hair white overnight. Yes, as shown in the photograph we have of him, his hair is completely white. For the following few days, the story of what he'd seen was on every page in the Capitol. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who'd come back to life. As you've seen, an exhibit was even created here at Madame Tuspel's. I can quite understand why the man's hair turned white, certainly. But what I don't understand is what Mr. Drebber was doing in the first place, in a lonely graveyard in the middle of the night. Yes, what was he up to? The professor's acts of terror threw London's upper classes into complete panic 10 years ago. It was a great scandal, one might say, at the very highest levels of society. And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumors abounded. After all, no killer had before systematically employed a dog as a weapon of murder. Yes, I can imagine the impact of the case must have had back then. But in time, of course, the rumors abated. I just thought of Toby too. I'm like, wait a minute, what is this recurring dog theme? So too did talk of the shocking witness account of the convict who came back to life. Hello, Blackbird. Happy Saturday. It was forgotten, dismissed as a dubious ghost story, as a preposterous parlor tale. But why did people stop believing it? Why? Simply because there was no resurrection to speak of, as was established in fact. What do you mean by no resurrection? The police investigated the grave in Lowgate Cemetery and published their findings. The convict's body was found to be buried exactly where it had been following the execution. No. But that would mean Mr. Drebber must have lied to the police and the newspapers. That would appear to be the only logical explanation, yes. The young man subsequently vanished from society, and nothing has been heard of him since. It's rather striking, then, that he should resurface now, don't you think? Of course, the convicted murderer couldn't really have come back to life. That's not possible. But Drebber's hair is unusually white, and if that really did happen overnight as the result of a shock, it's hard to believe the incident was an out-and-out lie. This must be the killer. The fiend known as the Professor. Yes, I think so. According to what Madame Tispel said, he killed 5 victims, all of noble or royal blood. The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the models in this place. I know. It looks like it could start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only it had its head, that is. This really makes you wonder who the Professor is. It wasn't made public, and it's the dummy is now missing its head. So that makes me think it has to be a character that we know. I don't know why the 2 people that come to mind first, and I'm sure this is just my brain wandering. Professor Mikotoba and Van Zeeks are the 2 that, like, just pop into my brain. But very possibly Strongheart. This guy's creepy. You know what these portraits remind me of a little bit? In Paranormasight. The character portraits there. Bohemian Boy, where we 10 years ago? Not this. The Paranormasight portraits? It reminds me. And actually, you know who looking at this one reminds me of Storytime? It's big vibes for that serial killer who was the janitor but younger. Yo, I miss Paranormasight. Paranormasight was so freaking good. And you know what? It was like the perfect length. It was like the definition of short and sweet. It was the last good VN we played. Because after Paranormasight, didn't we go right into Steins Gate? And you know what? Even though Inescapable was objectively a bad game, certain parts about it I really fondly look back to. Even though it was bad, there were times where it wasn't that bad. Like that one case with the, what was it? The apple tart or whatever? The credits? Not this. No. The apple crumble thing with the diabetes. That was honestly... Alright, enough of my speculations. Perhaps we should exchange it and examine it in a little more detail. Yes, let's. So, what's going on here? Does this look like the clothes of anyone that we know? Probably not. This is probably a prison uniform. So, this is the condemned man. Right, 139. And you know, Steven, what I did as soon as I saw numbers on the grave when the last time we were here, I immediately opened up the court record and go to this thing. And I was like, if there's numbers... Because, you know, this has been sitting in our court record forever, and I can't wait for it to come full circle. Yes, the so-called professor. Then perhaps his head was chopped off by a guillotine, but unable to find peace. He emerged from this grave as a headless ghost. Do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Mr. Sato? Anyway, I'm sure the model had a head once. There's a metal fitting for it, see? Then perhaps Mr. Sholmes absent-mindedly forgot to reattach it. That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it? Or perhaps the thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned it to the museum. And that would be an extremely absent-minded thief. Could there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? Well, whatever the reason, it means we don't know what the face of the infamous professor looked like, do we? Oh. There's something caught just between the convict's jacket here. Looks like a piece of broken glass, and quite a big piece. What? Glass from the Crystal Tower? Why was he there? Do you look like this? Is this why? The glass is right there! It's right there!
So the Holy War begins.
Okay. Okay. It's very thick, isn't it? About 5 times thicker than normal window glazing, I'd say. Where could such a thick piece of glass have come from, I wonder? I suppose it must have been made thick to increase its strength. But why? Well, perhaps because the glass had to span a particularly wide area, such as in a big building, for example. Ah, well, we've seen a large glass building recently, haven't we? And some of the glass was broken too. You don't mean exactly the Crystal Tower at the Great Exhibition. But why would the glass from the Crystal Tower be lodged inside this waxworks jacket? It makes you think, doesn't it? It really, really does make you think. No. No. Give me the court record. Thank you. This piece of glass is almost as thick as it is wide. Yes, I've never seen anything like it. If you were to compare it to a human, only Mr. Sholmes has such thick skin. There's really no need for such a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, as you well know. Anyway, it can only be from Crystal Tower, surely. Yes, I think so too. It was probably made especially to meet the demands of the great structure. And now we discover this fragment of glass here in this waxwork. Is it just a coincidence? This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. Young man, yep. He has a shovel in his hand. Okay, so we didn't actually finish observing him fully. What's this here? Well, this would appear to be a lens in the middle, so I believe it's a camera. A camera? But it's so small! British technology is incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Sholmes' skin prints? I think perhaps you should treat Mr. Sholmes' inventions as exceptions to the rule. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera? I wonder. Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment a dead body came back as a ghost on film. I can't believe we're actually playing FF3. Does that have a crystal tower in it? He has Genshin hair? He does. Yeah, it does. Oh, Kevin was saying that as in yes. The Crystal Tower is the final dungeon, and it has an iconic theme. FF14 also has a tower in it. Eatier, get the leather. She's way ahead of you. You don't even need to tell her. She's already leatherworking. Idly. The Crystal Tower in FF14 is a reference to the FF3 Crystal Tower. Okay, riddle me this. In FF6, what was the name of that tower I had to climb? That wasn't also a Crystal Tower, was it? The one where you could only use magic? With my magic. Good question. If Alzarath was
My
here.
magic.
Fanatics Tower. Okay, Kuroi's got it. What an aficionado, Kuroi. By the way, Kuroi, I got that stupid duo unit on the new banner. Chloe looks ridiculous, and I love Chloe, but she just looks ridiculous in this stupid rabbit suit. And I wanted Sylvain, and I didn't get him yet. Easter FEH, I missed that. Just sign in and do some summons, Diamond, enough. They both look like they're floating on air. Bunny outfits are almost always ridiculous. How good is she? Is she super strong? Is she meta? Should I put her on Aether raids? I'm just kidding. I have not even. I would need to read like an ancient inheritance level guide in order to do a an Aether raids defense. Just do a little crack. No, Diamond. It's not crack, okay? Well, I don't know. Maybe it is, but just log in and do some summons. You got this. You probably have 40 kajillion orbs. She's pretty meta for her ability to give allies charge. She's strong, but not duo Leon strong. Didn't Kevin get that? Yeah. Well, congratulations.
I'm strong.
You have mega broken shit.
Wait.
Not Leon and Ephraim. Leon, I think it's Leon and Erica.
Oh.
Duo Leon legit broke the game in half? Oh, lord. She's more of a support unit for letting the team's other nukes slam their face into your attackers. That's kind of cool. Is this the one? This is the face of villainy in FEH? Is that the one? Thanks a bunch. Well, you should put them on your defense everywhere, Kevin. Are they level 1? Oh.
I have one unit.
He steals your turns? What?
I have like over.
That looks neat, says Prophet.
I
Yes.
have like over.
I'm down to like 10. God. Yeah, FEH is it has cool art, Prophet. The gameplay's not all that, but sometimes it scratches that Fire Emblem itch. And actually, Prophet, now that you're almost done with Engage, you might actually appreciate FEH a little bit. Not that I condone gacha games, unless if I'm talking to Diamond.
Appreciate the art and the voice.
Yeah, the voice lines are fun, and it's a fun, like, casual Pokédex simulator. FE3 Houses Anna's lines are giving you PTSD. Is that the one? I could add it. I should add it. Just to torment you. You know what the most robbery is? There's that line in Fire Emblem. Persona 5 Strikers with that shopkeep where she goes, "Thanks for your business!" And I couldn't record it because there is no option in that game to turn off background music. I can see that. How is it as a gacha for its gameplay? The gameplay is not very good. It's just like, if you like Fire Emblem and the characters in it, you'll look past the bad mechanics and just be like, okay, fine. It does have stamina, yes, but it hands out stamina like hotcakes. The gameplay was a lot better before they realized whales wouldn't shell out for an actual balanced game. Yeah, well, welcome to gacha games. It varies from mode to mode. Some of its modes are really fun. I do have fun clearing, like, the in-game stuff. Plus, like, when Tempest Trials are live, I just let it vibe. Like it's doing right now. Alright, they're just cut. Oh, you see that, Diamond? Sonya got cut down. Amazing. And it autos for me. Lovely. You may or may not give it a shot. Well, we'll see, Prophet. Let me know if you do. You do miss your Sonya? I bet your Sonya was cracked. +10. I started working on a new +10 in FEH, and he's probably terrible. Can anyone guess who it is? He's another boy that I like. I need to start actually using my feathers to give people good specials. All of my characters are running garbage budget specials. I wonder what the new player summons are like, and if you would get anything good. I honestly, Prophet, I don't think it matters if you get good things, just get things that you want. And at this point, there's like, what, over 1,000 units in FEH? Because it's been out for like 6 years or something. Even longer, I think. It's been out for like 7 years. But anyways, there are literally hundreds of Prophet characters for you to collect. That one Ask Her meme video just straight up gave everyone 200 stamina potions. Really? I sit at 999 stamina potions. How am I gonna get anyone I want? Well, here's the good thing, Prophet. Because there's so many characters you would like, all you have to do is summon. And they will just naturally come home. You might even like some of the 3 and 4 stars that you get, and that's fine, and you could raise them to 5 stars. Anyway, my newest project in FEH is Python. He's only +2 right now, though. The catalog says there are 1,073 heroes. Jesus Christ. That's insane. I wonder how many I have. Probably a lot. Don't spend money. Yeah, I agree with that. Do not spend money on FEH. Although, there were a few months last year where I had the FEH, like, Battle Pass thing. And it gave me a bunch of skins for characters, like Odin and Raven, which are both top tier outfit changes. Do they have enough heroes from the games? So they actually just re-released some of the fan favorites a bajillion times. So, like, there's like 10 Camillas and 10 Lins. And 10 Hectors. Yeah. There's like 10 Edelgards, and 10 Claudes, and 10 Dimitris. Python is a bit dated now. He was viable for a while when he first got his Refine. Now he wants an Arcane Bow. Zero? Yeah, true. The characters that aren't in the game yet, I feel bad. Where is Khalil? Actually, we're missing a lot from Radiant Dawn. Where is Khalil? Where is Boyd? Where is Danved? Does anyone want Danved? Want check? Yeah, there's Mini Boyd, but that doesn't count. I think if you release a Khalil video, you will get into FEH. I think that's the straw that will break the camel's back. They'll give in. Yeah, see, your Dorothy video did it. Yeah, and they keep giving, like, original characters spaces on banners for games that we want, like Thracia. You're swapping me to PS5 and you're gonna check it out? Oh god. Alright, Prophet, let us know who you get. Kevin will be especially interested. Kevin's two favorite things in this world are sharing music with people and learning what their first gacha summons are. We'll just borrow this for a little while, I think. Oh! By looking at the photographic plate inside the camera, we can see what picture was taken. What's a photographic plate? It's a piece of glass coated in a special emulsion that reacts to the light coming in through the lens. If we open the cover at the back of the camera, we should find it. Let's have a look. You should see yourself, Susato-san. Your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? Oh, yeah, with Tina. I actually didn't get any of the units from the Thracia banner. I missed Lara, Tina, Safia was also there, right? And... who was the other one? Was it Reinhardt? That's quite a large lamp the man's carrying. Or is it a lantern? It's not unlike a Japanese Chochin paper lantern, actually, is it? Lamp, lantern, Chochin. The point is, it casts very little light. To be walking alone in a graveyard at night with only this, well, I certainly couldn't do it. I'm not sure I could visit a graveyard at all, even in broad daylight, to be honest. New Super Reinhardt? What a large shovel. He's holding it rather ominously, isn't he? What on earth was the man doing with a shovel in a graveyard in the middle of the night? Miss Susato? Yes. That's a spade, isn't it? No, it's a shovel. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. We've been through this, Mr. Naruhodo. It's a shovel. No. Although, we haven't considered trowels. We've allowed ourselves to be distracted, I feel. Perhaps we should concentrate on what the man was doing with the implement. So, we're going to bury the hatchet. You're right, though. What was the man doing in the graveyard in the first place? That's the real question. Okay. There's the Genshin hair. Can we examine it? No. No, we cannot. Genshin hair. Oh, Steven. Returning player bonuses are calling to you. Kevin's playing League, Kevin's playing League, Kevin's playing League. Steven! We have talent domains to farm together! I haven't logged into Genshin in like a week and a half. You should, Dots. We're getting Chiori soon. Yeah! See? Steven, you want something to play together.
No one can stop me.
He's basically original Olwen, wishes that she was super fast with a brave weapon that hits hard. Of course, duo Leon makes him look not so bad at this point, but... Alright. We'll discuss more in the kitchen. Kuroi, is there any build that can save base Olwen? She low-key has some of my favorite art in FEH, and I'm a major Olwen fan. Like, I would say Olwen is in my top 5 units from Thracia. Which I extra hate because there's a unit that you can only get if Olwen dies. Super rude. You need extremely specific fodder? Alright, tell me more. Tell me more while I'm gonna go make another drink. Burb!
They're unique and they're smart.
It's tea time!
Why, hello. Okay. He will slay you in the kitchen. It's tea time! You might have better luck salvaging green Olwen. My green Olwen is like +2 or 3, I think. The new Reinhardt's weapon, Flared Sparrow, and Occultist Strike would put in work on basically anyone. But that's a lot of fodder. Oh, Jesus. You can pass his weapon to other people? That's kind of crazy. Oh, that's pretty good. You know who seems broken? I think it's like Valentine's Robin or something. Maybe not Valentine's. But he does Rally Spectrum. It just seems insane. Oh, that's not the right controller. What the bleeding Nora, Odo? What have you gone and done? Gina, what are you doing here? Asked Iris, and she said this is where you'd be, so... Gina, not so loud in the museum. Madame Tuspels will have you take a position as a waxwork if you're not careful. I think there might be more pressing of a concern. I still add some flash powder from 6 months ago, so... Alright, Gina, we understand, but please, put the gun down. How did Iris know that? Is it Brave Robin? Is he a brave hero and I didn't know? I kind of thought he was free for some reason, so that would explain why he's so strong. Sorry, I got scared. You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So, what brings you here, Gina? What brings me here? What'd you think? We found it. We found that Dodgy Cove's workshop. What? You found Drebber's workshop? Yep. Toby's nose took me straight there. The boss and the others are heading over there now in a drag. Come on. Here's the address. I got the boss to write it out. Oh, thank you, Gina. We'll make our way there at once. Alright then, see you there. Yeah, Gregson's going in drag, apparently. You go. Don't mind me. I'll just stay here, being still. What? I know my place, in the exhibit over there. Oh dear, someone is feeling sorry for himself. Let's go, Mr. Sholmes, you're coming. Your words hearten me, I must say, but if I were to shirk my duties here, Madame would have me pay monetary recompense and Iris's dinner plate. Forget that, I'll pay for everything. Then there's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail a carriage at once. No offer to share the cost from Mr. Sholmes, then. I shall gladly pay half, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Mr. Sato. Right, let's go. And not Drebber's workshop. That looks like... Oh! It's another super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Indeed, it would appear so, though only a prototype, naturally. Ah, so you got here, then. Gina, well done for finding this place. And in such little time, you've really worked miracles. It's Toby here, who's the miracle worker. Ah, and I thought you lot would show up before long. What's with his face? Hello, Inspector. That's one knitted brow. He looks like he's eating a lemon, not a bag of fish and chips. So, Inspector, is there any sign of the engineer? Sadly not. We didn't find a soul here. Oh, what a shame. Well, thank you for letting us know about this place and giving us the chance to investigate. According to what Gina tells me, we only found it thanks to a clue that you lot turned up. I wouldn't wanna, say, go to Paris with a debt of gratitude unpaid now, would I? Thank you. Anyway, if you're hoping to snoop around in here, I'd get cracking. Lord Van Zeeks and the forensic investigation team are on their way here as we speak. Them again. I imagine you've got the picture by now. They don't take too kindly to lawyer types. Right. So then, my dear fellow, let's turn this place upside down whilst we have the chance. And you, Sholmes. Pardon? They take even less kindly to great detectives than they do to lawyers. Ha ha ha! Very droll, Gregson, very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than an inconspicuous waxwork model. Right then. Let's see what we can find here. Hey, saw that. Okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. That machine is covered by this special dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. There would be serious repercussions if you were to examine it. From the Crown and the government. Ah! Well, those two don't seem to be holding back. Wait, it's quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices of deception to be seen, my dear fellow. No loose change dropped on the floor, nothing. Not even a bone for Toby here, my dear fella. British people are very much ruled by their own ideals, aren't they? I think that's just these two, Miss Usato. This door doesn't want to open. Yeah, looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it. There's a specialist locksmith on the way over from the yard, so hands off till he gets here. With permission, Inspector, I could have that lock open in less than a minute. Well, you don't have permission, and no one's given it to you. Gregson looked as though he really enjoyed that. Well, there's no sound of anybody on the other side. No, Trevor must have fled at the first sign of danger. It's a European-style quiver of arrows with steel bolts inside. Oh, do you suppose? Crossbow bolts, these. And just the right size for the bow you lot turned up at the exhibition grounds. In other words. Yep, that's more evidence to support your theory. It all goes to show that Drebber was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes of the whole scam. Killer was Rebecca because she was jealous of Will. I believe that after yesterday's Fire Emblem 7 episode. My Will in that file is actually kind of cracked. I'm gonna be really sad if he dies. You know what? I am actually excited to see who is gonna be the first death. We didn't get one yesterday, and I felt really good about that, but, like, the first one always hurts a lot. Ah, this appears to be most interesting. Yes, most interesting indeed, wouldn't you say? It's an impressive-looking back massager, that's for sure. I've no doubt that if you hit your shoulders a few times with that, your aches and pains would go away. It's a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science. A young scientist could wish for no higher honor. Technically Merlinus, but he's fine being a zombie. Oh yeah, true. Well, if Merlinus had permadeath, I would have protected him. But I liked it in our most recent chapter. We got carried by Lowen. Because I've never actually long-term used Lowen, so the fact that he was so good in that chapter makes me really happy. Ah. Would you like a massage? No, I'm fine. Thank you. I had no idea it was such a grand thing. I think it's becoming increasingly clear that there's much more to this Mr. Enoch Drebber than conjuring tricks. I couldn't agree more, my dear madame. And how about you, Mr. Naruhodo? Wouldn't you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course. He's not gonna let that go, is he? It's curious, though, isn't it? You would expect such an important trophy. To be proudly on display somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. English gentlemen can be quite a mystery at times. Oh. Is something wrong, Miss Usato? Well, I thought I heard a noise. From the far side of that door. Well, Gina, did you hear it too? Yeah, I heard it and all. What do you reckon, Toby? Right. Mind the grease. Whoever's in there, open up. This is Scotland Yard. Oh my, Someone is in there! This rotten bleeding lock! My dear Gregson, as I said only minutes ago, if only it were countenanced, I could unlock that door in less than a minute. Fine, I'll take the rap for it. Just get us through that blasted door. There! You may enter at will. You've confused minutes with seconds, I think. Time is of the essence, I feel. What are we waiting for? Nothing for it, I suppose. This is an emergency. There's a strong possibility that beyond that door is the engineer you seek. Be prepared for action, my dear fellow. Yes. Dynamite? What's happened in here? Is everything upside down? Rats, there ain't no one in here after all. But there must be. It was only moments ago that we heard this noise. Maybe that was the sound of Drebber running away. There's only one door into this room. And no windows that could afford an escape route. Those skylights are too high. Well, there's footprints. What's that up there? Are they footprints on the ceiling? Blow me! What have we here then? Oh my goodness. Guys? Looks like someone was trying to burn something in a hurry. Oh, that looks like a set of blueprints. To what? To that Professor Hairbrain's barmy machine, is it? Blimey! If we'd had these, there'd have been no need to muck about trying to investigate all that scrap metal. There is something of great interest here, too. This rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar. A rope. What's significant about that? Never mind. You see? But you do not observe, Mr. Naruhodo. We must investigate the room thoroughly, and before the forensic investigation team arrives too. There is a bomb on the floor, you guys! Mr. Sholmes, have you found something? Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, yes, in point of fact, something rather fascinating. What do you make of this? Let's see. I've never seen anything like this before. It looks like a bundle of thick cigars. Mr. Sato, what's the matter? Surely that's a time bomb, isn't it? What? Did you say? A time bomb? Sorry, but what is a time bomb, exactly? You are truly one of a kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I won't take that as a compliment. You don't know nothing, do ya, Odo? You haven't got a clue what it is either, have you, Gina? I invite you to consult a dictionary later, Mr. Naruhodo. But this particular specimen is no time bomb, though I confess it has a very similar appearance. Oh, well, thank goodness. But then, what is it? I see. So that's it. Goodness. Mr. Sholmes, have you seen the heart of the matter? There are times when I consider my lot most unfair, for I'm fated never to know how it feels to flounder as you do when a puzzle presents itself. But I have learned to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Miss Susato. Here we go. I feel a great deduction coming. Once again, I can draw two conclusions from the scene we see before us. The first is that the inverted nature of the furniture in this room is the work of Drebber himself. Oh, but how could you? And the second conclusion is that this small device on the floor there is without question completely genuine. Please, Mr. Sholmes, you must explain everything. It would be a pleasure. After all, it is a great detective's civic duty to teach Scotland Yard the finer points of the trade. Well, Inspector Gregson seems delighted with the idea anyway. Ha ha ha! Oh, you deflected the inspector's glare with such fortitude there, Mr. Sholmes. Well done. You're too kind, my dear madame. I hereby dedicate this great deduction to you. Kindly stand there, Miss Usato. Oh, yes. I'd be delighted. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Alright, here we fucking go again. With the poses. This song goes off, though. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table, and chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had until recently been happily positioned on the ceiling. Before falling straight down to the floor, every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that... Indeed, the key here is gravity! It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. For the gravity in this room was reversed and then suddenly restored to normality. Goodness. The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. I quite understand your skepticism, Miss Usato. I too was incredulous at first. However, my conviction in my analysis was cemented when I observed this! An anti-gravity device. Almost identical to the one that featured in a dream of mine only the other day. In fact... But then why does it have a clock on it? A most relevant question indeed. That is a timing device that controls when the gravity direction will switch. There was clearly a requirement for the engineer to be able to restore normal gravity automatically. And the commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the door was the moment that restoration occurred. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. So you see, we need look no further to explain the state in which we now find this room. The direction in which gravity acts in here was reversed by Mr. Drebber. I don't think Sholmes has ever been more wrong than in this moment. He's always quite wrong, though. Remember the soap eating theory? To be fair, the bomb would allow things to defy gravity. Maybe while they're falling through the air from an explosion. Yeah, Steven, totally ridiculous. Okay. Before being restored to normality is... in an automatic fashion, sometime later by the timer device. I have witnessed precisely this scene in a dream I once had when I fell out of bed. Now let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain this actions is above our head. Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? I don't know! The rope that you found at the base of the window? Okay. A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth. My dear Madame. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylights. Of course, Trevor's aim was singular, to escape. However, there is but one way into this room, except the skylight, that is. Ah. By inverting the gravity in here, Drebber was able to fall conveniently to the ceiling and make his escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving those footprints behind on the way. But the ceiling in here is very high, Mr. Sholmes. If the gravity reversal was sudden, wouldn't Mr. Drebber have fallen up the ceiling rather violently? Falling up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the man was cornered with nowhere to run, so escape through the skylight was his only option. Is it possible he's hiding and he planted this fake bomb to scare people out of the room? You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the rope. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? By anchoring one end to the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. Which explains how Drebber was able to escape this room before our arrival. He reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now, just for fun. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. Susato loves it. She's completely spellbound. Mr. Sholmes, there's just one thing that troubles me. I would expect nothing less. You're destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your life. The thing is such a thing actually possible? An anti-gravity device, I mean. I would say that with man's current scientific knowledge at the turn of the 20th century, it's no more possible than instantaneous kinesis. So everything I just said is impossible! But your whole deduction hinges on it! Ah, but my dear fellow, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth, however improbable it may seem. It's a marvelous line, wouldn't you agree? One of my more enduring pearls of wisdom. I had Iris come up with the exact phrasing. The original was clumsy. Yes, I have a feeling I've read it in something that Miss Susato lent me once. Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, the spell's broken at last. The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it? Indeed it was, in lonely coils near the wall. What a nice reference to the original trilogy. Was it the line that Sholmes said, Starberry? But if Mr. Drebber had used it to escape in the way you described, wouldn't it still be tied to the wall? Mysteries inevitably unravel in the end, as I think you'll find do ropes. And as evidence of such, you need to only look at the mystery we faced in this room, now skillfully unraveled. That argument is as circular as the coils of rope. Oh, it was? Yeah, all those references I still miss because this is the only Ace Attorney that we've played. This case is very interesting. I think perhaps we might need to give Mr. Sholmes the usual little helping hand. I'm sure with some minor corrections, the Great Detective's great deduction will lead us to the truth. Yes, you're right. Let's get some Naruhodo on screen. And we must do it quickly before Enoch Drebber gets too far away. If you're ready, then let us resume. Herlock Sholmes's Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Alright, let's do this. Bum 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 bum. Susato's so cute. Plain to see that this room is completely in complete disarray. The bed, the tables and chairs, the lamp, everything's upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had until recently been happily positioned on the ceiling before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that? Indeed, the key here is gravity. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. For the gravity in this room was reversed and then suddenly restored to normality. The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played. I think gravity could have been reversed in this very room. I find the whole idea utterly enthralling. Only Mr. Sholmes could conceive such an explanation. But the man himself admitted it was a scientific impossibility, so yes, you're quite right. We must completely discount the idea at once. Oh, that's unusually merciless of you, Mr. Sato. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. There it is again. The great detective himself said so, didn't he? While refusing to part with his dreams of anti-gravity devices. Yes, I suppose so. Well, let's see if examining this topsy-turvy scene a little more closely reveals some proofs that show exactly what the gravity in this room was or wasn't doing. Ta-da! Well, well, I wasn't expecting to find a pretty bunch of flowers in here, that's for sure. Ah, look at that. I know. That slender little vase looks like it's about to topple at any moment, but the flowers are thriving. Somehow it makes you think of the fragility of life, wouldn't you say? To be honest, Mr. Naruhodo, something else about it made it a rather deep impression on me. Oh, I'm supposed to present it, huh?
Take that!
The upright vase clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. Upon my word, Mr. Naruhodo, you've surpassed yourself by completely turning my argument on its head. Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps? No one is trying to steal your spotlight here, Mr. Sholmes. Trust me. As you rightly say, though it appears at first glance that all the furniture in the room is upside down, this unassuming, slender vase is standing keenly to attention. And unlike the large safe, there is nothing affixing it to the floor. And it's the exception that breaks the rule. In short, much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never inverted at all! My deepest sympathies for your loss. Oh, poor Mr. Sholmes. But the show must go on, so let us continue with our deductions. Now that we know this contrivance was not in fact an anti-gravity device, there remains but one other possibility. You don't say. Someone deliberately turned over every piece of furniture in here. Which might sound obvious, but leaves one mystery very much unsolved, namely, why would anyone choose to do that? Quite, and naturally there is an explanation. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. He's absolutely determined that this device must have something to do with it, isn't he? I'm afraid the lure of an exciting scientific explanation is too strong. Well, there's no doubt that somebody did this. Somebody turned all this furniture over. Whoever it was must have had a reason. I'm afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though. Well, let's look around and see if the answer presents itself. Look, there's something written on the underside of this armchair. Oh yes, safe. 432582. Safe? As in safe and secure? As in secure lockable box, I think. This character creator Pikachu? What is that? Oh! God! Okay, no, that is horrifying. Forgive me, guys. Real quick before I continue with this, I actually have to pee, so I will be back in like 2 seconds. Okay, hi, I'm back. Admittedly, more likely. Well, there is a large safe bolted to the floor on the other side of the room, so yes. 432582. Hi! So you mean this number would let us open it? I wonder why it's written here, though. I want to open the safe. We've already established that gravity wasn't actually reversed in here, haven't we? In other words, this isn't an anti-gravity device at all. Which makes me very curious to know what sort of device it is. But I think, for now, it's clear that we're looking for an answer elsewhere. Okay. That's a coal-burning heater, I think, isn't it? Yes, it is, but it's not just for heating, you know? You can grill on it, bake in it, boil, and steam things with it. It serves all sorts of purposes. That seems like having your cake and eating it too. Not unlike a heated tatsu table with a nabe hot pot, a Mikan orange, a cat, and an elderly relative. Hopefully there is no bomb defusal minigame. Oh, you mean it seems too much? I suppose perhaps it does. But you realize only some of those things on your list are edible, don't you? Can I just present this?
Take that!
Yep. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination. Precisely! I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, that you had a very similar experience once, did you not? Yes, last year, when I bought a lottery ticket and noted the ticket number down on the inside cover of a book just in case. That's it! For people are forgetful souls at heart, and always make a written note of important information. Just keeping the ticket itself safe would be more sensible, I think. And what, pray, happened next, Mr. Naruhodo? When the day of the draw came around, I'd forgotten which book I'd written the number in and had to turn my room upside down to find it. That's it. For people are forgetful souls at heart, and always forget where they noted things down. Not if you always note things in the same place. I actually won the second prize, you know. But I couldn't remember which magazine I'd slipped. Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo. But I believe I've proved my point now. Which is that a very similar scenario was clearly unfolding in this room. Finding himself requiring access to the safe, the occupant of this room needed the combination code. He remembered that he'd written it on the underside of a piece of furniture, but forgot which one, leading to the state in the room that we now find. Yes, Mr. Drebber overturned all the furniture in here in a desperate hurry to locate the combination code that would unlock the safe. Interesting. So what's in the safe? Well, probably nothing now. Alright, the missing engineer. Now let us consider the next conundrum. Iris, perhaps Leon? What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain this action is above our heads. Yes, how is it possible for there to be footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madame. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Wrong! Well, if a change in the direction of gravity can't explain it, then how did those footprints get up there? Yes, I feel as though that particular mystery has just become even harder to solve. I can't think of any other way to explain it all. Oh, life was so much simpler in those halcyon days when gravity could be reversed. It was minutes ago, and those halcyon days never existed in the first place. Well, I suppose we must simply put our faith in Mr. Sholmes and observe the area in more detail. Putting our faith in Mr. Sholmes is what gets us into these situations in the first place. Oh, there's a fucking shoe up here. It's hard to believe, but there's a shoe up there, look. Oh yes, and there are more footprints on this little balloon, too. Perhaps the shoe was thrown up there and became lodged, do you think? If so, then judging from the number of footprints, it must have been thrown several times. Why would anyone be throwing shoes up at the ceiling, though? Oh dear, that's beyond me, I'm afraid. This is a gas balloon, isn't it? It's tiny, but it does seem to be a real balloon. Yes, I think you're right. I think it's helium that's keeping it up. A green gas balloon. Why does that seem to ring a bell with me? If you can see, there are footprints on this balloon too. Look. Oh yes, surely that's a clue, isn't it? Though what it tells us, I'm not sure.
Take that!
The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby shoe. And on closer inspection, there are clearly footprints all over the balloon as well. In other words, the aim was never the skylight at all, but the balloon. But for what purpose? A green balloon. That seems somewhat familiar. Wait, what? That seems somewhat familiar data. Ah! It was a piece of the green balloon's envelope that Mr. Naruhodo and Iris found at the scene. And inside the green balloon that Master Gotts claims he saw above the stage when the incident occurred was the second birdcage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception. You mean to say, if we assume the balloon in here is a model of the one used that day, there is a strong possibility something may be concealed inside it. Something our absconder was desperate to retrieve before making his hasty getaway. But the balloon's out of reach. Hence why he resorted to a projectile, namely the shoe. Ah, most probably Drebber intended to tear a hole in the envelope by assailing it with the shoe. However, his efforts were thwarted when the shoe itself became a prisoner of those lofty heights. Oh dear, we desperately need to examine that balloon. If only there were some way we could see inside it. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Ah, the rope. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? Mr. Sholmes has managed to bring the deduction back to the rope. You throw Gregson's fish and chips at it? Aw, waste of food. Alright, I have to admit, that was clever. So we just throw the rope up the balloon and then pull it down to us on the ground? Which is much easier said than done, I feel. And could take us a very long time as well. True. Perhaps we need a more surefire method. In fact, we already have one of those, don't we? The crossbow.
Take that!
To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this crossbow? That was found at the scene, in fact, and in all likelihood belongs to Mr. Drebber. If the man had only brought it away with him that day, he could have avoided losing a shoe at such a critical time as this. So, shall we? Your curiosity is deeply stirred, no doubt, my dear fellows. What is it that Enoch Drebber has hidden inside this balloon? Oh! What the? Waxwork?
Oh.
Indeed it is. A waxwork inside... A waxwork head inside a metal mask. A mask that is shut tight and fastened with a strong and quite impenetrable lock. So we can't see the face inside. God damn it! Oh my god. There's gonna be a reveal and it's gonna be a gag. Just a moment. This is the head of the waxwork model. Does that mean... Oh goodness. I see you've joined the dots, Miss Susato. Excellent. Ah! Of course. A headless waxwork model. The case of the abducted Madame Tuspel's model that you largely solved. The dots, Daffy! Anakin, no. Mikotoba or, Zeke's? Yes. That's what I'm going with. It was only the head of the killer that was still missing. Indeed it was. But I believe Madame Tuspel's will now have to settle her sizable account with me. This, as you have now surmised, is the head of the infamous professor. Yes. But why is it here? This conclusively confirms my suspicions. The man responsible for stealing the professor from Madame Tuspel's and returning it, sans tits, earlier today, was none other than Enoch Drebber. This is incredible. Professor Harebrain's case and the waxwork abduction are inextricably linked by Enoch Drebber's workshop. There's also a bomb on the floor still, just in case you forgot. Well, it appears our logical pleasure cruise has come to an end, my dear fellows. All that remains is, yes, to speak with the architect of this adventure. The architect? You mean Mr. Drebber? As it seems quite possible that he escaped via one of the skylights, obviously the man must still be here in this room. What? Okay, I said that. And his location should be abundantly clear. If you simply reflect on the journey we've made together during this deduction... I almost said abduction. Enoch Drebber is right here somewhere in the room. So, Mr. Naruhodo, will you do the honors? He's in the safe? Yes, of course. Mr. Drebber's hiding place must be...
Take that!
Isn't he suffocating? Before we gained access to this back room, we heard noises from in here. Which tells us that the engineer was still in the building at the point in time. He was in fact searching for the combination to his safe. It's not airtight. And pressed for time, made no attempt to right the furniture that he overturned in the process. From which we can deduce that his search for the combination happened very recently indeed. In summary, Mr. Enoch Drebber is, at this very moment, inside the safe. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. Yay! Another one clear. Those deduction segments are very fun. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps it's time we ended this game of hide and seek, don't you? By opening the safe, you mean? What else? Let's see. The combination was 1432582. I knew that. Alright then, here goes. Hey. You found me. Right then, sir, Mr. Enoch Drebber, I presume. Be trying to wake up in the morning. Correct. You'd better start talking. You tricked Professor Hairbrain with that bogus machine you built. And you shall have to explain the theft of the waxwork from Madame Tispel's as well. Whilst I would be delighted to answer your many questions, personally, I would advise that you deactivate my little parcel first. Deactivate? Your parcel? I refer, of course, to the time bomb. I left it in a most prominent position. Ah! Ha ha ha. I see. Stunned silence. You're all gearing up to die with me then. No! Mr. Sholmes, with only 17 seconds to spare. That was too close for comfort. I've got one foot in the grave already. Are you trying to help us get a killer or get us killed? Mr. Sholmes' deductions can be completely life-altering, can't they? My dear fellows, that was a close shave. The resemblance to an anti-gravity device is really quite startling, I must say. Anti-gravity devices don't exist. Whew. I wouldn't push it, Mr. Sholmes. So... wow. They just did all of this investigating with a bomb in the room.
Jesus.
Amazing. What happened here? What on earth happened in here? You want his accessories? He's so interesting. You found me, haven't you? No need to screw me down any further. Everything in here is precisely what it seems. Yeah, well, we'll be giving it a thorough going over. Don't you worry, Drebber. What fails to click with me is how you were able to locate my workshop that I was not expecting. When I heard whistling from the other room, I knew it was time to bolt. Whistling? Ah, that would have been me. Oh! For some reason, I woke in fine fettle today. No words, just tightly squeezed chips. Clearly, I must have a screw loose, though, as I couldn't remember the combination to the safe. And another one loose, as I couldn't remember on which piece of furniture I'd written it down. We also found a rope over by the wall. Yes, I had hoped to exit through the skylight, but sadly the rope was too short. So I then set about searching for the combination code to open the safe. And burning the incriminating blueprints, don't forget. Regrettably, though, you failed to retrieve the head from the balloon among the rafters. And after you hid yourself inside the safe, having first set this parcel for ticking, well, I had no intention of being nailed by the police. Got a death wish, have ya? Hiding right beside a ticking time bomb. Please, why do you suppose I chose to hide inside the safe? It is no ordinary safe. It's especially designed. A dynamite explosion wouldn't leave a scratch on it. So in fact, The safe was the only safe place. Precisely. But once you climbed inside, you wouldn't have been able to get out again. I invite you to look more closely. Safe is fitted with a handle on the inside to allow the door to be unlocked from within. Ah, so it is. I had always intended to blow this place to smithers in any case. I just wasn't expecting uninvited guests to come along and screw up my plans. Do you mean to say you were planning to blow us all up? No, that was unforeseen. What do you mean? This dude. Most people run, you see, when they see a ticking time bomb at their feet. Ah, I calculated the time required for retreat to a safe distance and set the device accordingly. But your seemingly endless discourse in here threw a spanner in the works. Is something wrong, Gregson? Do I have something on my face besides my usual eyes, ears, nose, and mouth? I think we have a fairly good idea of what's been going on here now, but what about the two incidents you've evidently been involved in recently? Professor Harebrain's instantaneous kinesis experiment at the Great Exhibition, and the waxwork model you stole, which this head belongs to. That's no ordinary head, you know. That's the head of the professor. Clad in a mask with a lock so strong, I'm unable to open it safely to reveal the killer's identity. I've been considering carrying it around as protection. That's enough! I kind of figured this would happen. They're gonna make this guy spill all of his main details in the trial for sure. What's going on here, Gregson? I'm sure you're aware that I have sole jurisdiction to investigate here. Yes, well, Dr. Seath again. For the forensic investigation team are here. And you know full well this engineer is a key witness. Why are you allowing this lawyer to access him? If Lord Strongheart knew of this, you'd be finished. You lot, leave at once. My dear madam, there's no need for such a threatening tone, I assure you. After all, that's no way to greet an old acquaintance, is it, Dr. Scythe? Hello, Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes knows Dr. Scythe? If it's protecting the machine next door that's causing such a sour expression on your face, you are quite misguided. It's really nothing more than a shell. You get out. But of course, we'll show ourselves the door. I see you haven't softened at all. Mr. Naruhodo! Yes? It would appear that our delightfully entertaining investigations have run their course for today. But Mr. Sholmes, let us leave this place in the doctor's capable hands. I said get out, now, all of you. Your presence here is not required either, Gregson. Understood. But I'll just say one thing before I head off. If it wasn't for this lawyer and his companions, we'd never have found this place, and the whole workshop would have been blown to bits. There was this time bomb set in here that this lot disarmed. Inspector. Something giving you a chuckle, has it, Drebber? Ah, so sorry. Didn't mean to offend. You're quite right, of course. You did disarm the time bomb, didn't you? Yeah? Yes. You did disarm that one. Eh? What are you... That one? Yeah, you mean...
Mo?
You finally found a character you like! Wait, Rosen, you like Sholmes. Enough. You like Sholmes. It was an hour later that we heard the news of the enormous explosion that ripped through the experimentation stage at the Great Exhibition. Professor Harebrain's invention and all of its secrets were blown away forever. You like the main crew. Naruhodo and Susato as well. Sholmes, Van Zeek. See, they're all good. Yeah, the side characters tend to be a little... Eek. Madame Tispels is great. So, okay, we're moving on to part 3 of chapter 3. But this is, we are 6 minutes from Among Us time. I'm starting to think the you can't examine any inventions ever law has a loophole or two, definitely.
Yay!
He better not blow up the courtroom, then everybody dies. Also, I wonder if they would hear the ticking if it was, in fact, a time bomb. Alright guys, we're gonna make our switch to the third part of the triple feature. More Ace Attorney tomorrow night though.
Welcome to my garden.
We'll be doing
Yes! Yes!
we'll be doing Fire Emblem Iron Man into Ace Attorney tomorrow, so do not miss it. But for the rest of stream, we are gonna be going to Among Us Danganronpa killing game. So let's just like
Yay!
let's just do it. Lisa is hype. Lisa is actually bloodthirsty. You're gonna join Among Us as soon as you switch to your computer? Alright, sounds good. Let's set up. Now, tonight's session is actually gonna be amazing, you guys. I heard Proto Badger, Master of Tables, will be joining Among Us. Yeah, he is. What? Wait, Karoi, we're running Caspar in your Black Eagles run?
Voltorb.
Yay!
Okay, hold on. I'm posting now in the Among Us section. The time has come to kill each other. Okay. So let me get our playlists, and Saturday night slaying is about to occur.
Yay!
Prophet's been messing with FEH, Kevin.
Always a chicken nugget on a Sunday morning.
Okay, sounds good, Steven.
Any ranch or barbecue.
Better crew. Harry Caspar has to save Silver Snow Eagles. Rosen, let's table that point until Badger enters the room. Agreed. Oh, everyone's saying hi to Kevin. Alright, so we have entered the Among Us.
Josh gonna get slayed tonight.
Shut up.
And he ain't gonna do good.
Ah, trash. I hope you're doing well. All right, wait. I've gotta send out the Among Us invites.